Sorry. So, in the ending of the previous adhyaya, we have seen that between Ishwara and the jiva, you must necessarily accept that even both of these are unified at some point. Right? Otherwise, what are the possible scenarios? Either the jivas were always separate from Ishwara and they end up having to come to Ishwara. See, if they were separate, they can never be one. If they were separate from the beginning, they can never be one. So, if the jivas were always separate from Ishwara, then they must end up having to come to Ishwara but remain separate from Ishwara. The problem comes that you cannot have multiplicity of origin. So if you are pointing to an origin, it means that it is a single origin. You cannot have multiplicity. So then you say that it was one thing that has become two. So the second object can come to the first, but also merge back into their original state through which they become one. Right? Such that you have two parts of you have an ocean. You have taken one glass of water out of it. So because this glass of water also came from the ocean, you can later return the water to the ocean. There is a river and a tree next to it. These two are always separate. So even if you put the tree into the ocean, the tree will be in the ocean but separate from the ocean. This happens because the tree's origin is separate, the river's origin is separate. So this is not the case though, because you cannot have such multiplicity of origin. So it follows that the jiva, although he is separate from Ishwara, just as the glass of water is separate when you take it out of the ocean, once poured back in, there is no more ocean separate from the glass and there is no more glass of water also. So in the same way, you end up having to say that Ishwara and the jiva, although during the time of Vyavahara, they are both very much separate and different, in their true nature, they have to be one and the same. Because otherwise, you will have to say that Ishwara has created these jivas, made them separate and then refused them unity again. That is the other option otherwise. Ishwara has said, you were once me, I will now make you, I will not let you be me. There is no point to this too. There is no reason for this to be the case. So it follows that there is one Chaitanya that acts as Ishwara, acts as the jiva, and later on once the acting is done, everything is one again. That is the simple blueprint that we have. However, when this acting is going on, that is where the problem comes, right? That is the entire point when this jagat is going. So one small example if we give. The one example I like to give is that a board game. You are playing a board game. This business board game is there, right? You have played this business, Monopoly. Monopoly is there. So you only are playing the game. You have decided what rules you want to play the game with and you are playing this game. In the game you have a character. Right? There is someone who is going buying properties. There is one bank. He is paying banks. He is collecting money. He is paying off his loans. He is collecting interest from other players. All of this is there. So you have one identity as the person who designed the game. In the game, there is also your piece where you are saying, my piece has moved forward. I am owing the bank something. I have acquired a new property. This identity is also there. Once the game is done, you are no longer playing the game. You have one more identity. Now, the person who set the rules is in fact the person even after the game is playing, because you only have set the rules. So, in this way we can see that, let us say that this jagat is now a game. Shuddha Chaitanya is Chaitanya without the game. When it enters as a piece, it itself puts a piece and says, now this piece is me. This piece will go through this entire game to win. What does winning the game mean? Finishing the game. What is there when the game finishes? The game is no longer there. Why enter the game then? To play the game. Correct. You enter the game to play the game. The point of the game is to finish the game. Once you finish the game, there is no more game. Why has the piece been put there? That is a different story. But in the same way, if we apply this, Brahman, game, no game, nothing. I now want to play a game. So I will design a game myself and set the rules. Now there is one piece inside. This piece, the identity of this piece, wherein it is unfortunately having to go from place to place, it is looking for properties within the game, it is having to get money to pay the bank within the game. This piece cannot be the person who decided that there is a bank, there will be a piece, this is the rules, this is the place, these are the rules of the game, this many people can play. That piece can never be this. When the game is done, where did that piece go? Because that piece was being moved forward, that piece was doing things. So it is not like that piece is the property in the game. The piece is definitely distinct from that. So where the piece go, that identity has merged back. In the same way, Brahman exists without this game of the jagat. Then, because he wanted to play, why did he want to play? These things there is no reason. You don't play for a reason. You are happy, so you play. There is a difference in that. Playing for happiness, playing because you are happy is different. That is why what Krishna did is called a Leela. That is why what we do is karma. When you do something for happiness, it is karma. When you do something because you are happy, it is a Leela. So Ishwara says, okay, we might as well play a game also. So he has now become Ishwara in the sense that this Brahman is now the creator of a game. He has made a game, he has set rules, he said, now there are pieces, right? Now let's play. And he only is moving the piece. But he is not moving the... See, when we play the game, we have set the game and we are now playing it, right? Now when we say, I am moving forward and you are moving the piece, you are now... The piece is not moving as the creator of the game. But you do retain... There is also an identity of the creator of the game. So, in the same way, the jiva moves through the game as designed by Ishwara. Once the jiva reaches the end of the game, he has paid off all his debts, he has gotten all the property, he has finished his purpose with the game. There is no more game piece also. Right? Once you pack up the game and put it inside, where is the game piece? Where is the person that was until now cross, go, collect 200 rupees, indoor there is some property, who was playing all of this until now? That person is no longer there. The individual that was buying all these properties in debt, trying to win over other players, trying to surpass other players, who was happy that he crossed other players, who was sad that other players had crossed him. Where is that person that was playing the game? His identity was no different from the person who decided to make the game in the first place. So then, did that person make the game? No. The person who is creating, who is paying off his debts, who is interacting with other players, that person did not create the game. But these two identities of the creator of the game and the piece within the game came from one same source. In the same way, Brahman exists. Brahman decides to play this jagat, play the game of this jagat as Ishwara. Then he also enters this jagat as the jiva. The second that the jiva's debt with the jagat is finished, that is to say the karmic balance is restored, the game is done. Pack up, no more Ishwara, no more jiva, only Brahman is left. So this is the big picture of the game. However, within the game, there are some parts of the game that the jiva does to himself, such as he will buy a property and tell the other person, you have to pay me now. This, the creator of the game did not tell this person to pay. The jiva is only collecting that tax or whatever from the other person that is playing. There is also one thing wherein this player is different from this player. This player, there are this many properties that the player can collect. This is a bank. Who has created all of this? The creator of the game has created this. So, within the multiplicity of the game, some multiplicity is created by the piece, some multiplicity, let us call it the player, we will call that the player. Some multiplicity is created by the player, some multiplicity is created by the game designer. So, we have to understand which part is causing what. That is the point of this Dvaita Viveka. Dvaita exists, there is no need to deny it. But which Dvaita was caused by whom, and therefore what is its implication? This is what we are discussing now. Ishwarena api jivena srishtam Dvaitam vivichyate. There are some Dvaitas that are created by Ishwara, there are some Dvaitas that are created by the jiva. When we say Dvaita, let us think multiplicity. That is, let us take it. There are some bhedas, differences that the jiva creates. There are some differences that Ishwara creates. I will give you the big picture now, such that when we look at the specifics, it will be clear. The differences of I and mine are created by the jiva. Mountains, trees, all of this is Ishwara. That is to say, physical differences are created by Ishwara, mental differences are created by the jiva. It is this simple. The fact that this is my body, that is not my body. Mine, not mine. Ishwara did not create. The jiva did this. However, this jiva is separate from that jiva. This is Ishwara. Right? This body is separate from that body. This is Ishwara. The tree is different from, one more mango tree is different from a coconut tree. This is also Ishwara. Then we say, no, the jiva only planted the seed, right? So, but the point is, Ishwara is the karana for everything. That also we say, right? It is through his sankalpa that all of this happens. The coming of the tree, the jiva may have been willed. The jiva may have willed. But the fact that this tree is different from this is not of the making of the jiva. It is naturally different. Naturally means Ishwara. The reason why Sanatana Dharma and science can go perfectly together is, wherever in science you see the word natural, you substitute that with Ishwara. Natural law, Ishwara's diction. Natural course of events, Ishwara's sankalpa. Right? Natural harmony, Ishwara's dharma. It is that wherever you see natural progression in science, you substitute that with Ishwara, because Ishwara is not sitting there sticking his finger into the jagat every single time consciously. Ishwara has set certain laws in place and said, I have put these laws because I want the jagat to play out in a certain way. So now I have set the laws in place, let it happen. So everything that happens is Ishwara's sankalpa. It does not mean that Ishwara has to sit there and physically do everything. It is like you are bowling, right? You push the ball goes. It hits the pin. Did you hit the pin? No. But the pin falling is because of you only. Because you have set motions into action, you have set sequences into action such that the end result is this. The difference between us bowling is only Bhagavan knows where that ball will go once it leaves our hand and how many pins will fall. Bhagavan knows exactly how to throw that ball such that how these pins will fall. That is the only difference.
So if Ishwara created the differences between the bodies, we believe that our prarabdha karma as a result of this body, this is a creation. How do I...
Yeah, because this game has been played many times. So the debt from the last game is carried through. So because there are players in the last time who still have not settled their debts, there is a tea break in the middle. That is avantara. That is avantara pralaya. So one round of the game has finished. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll put the what happens after a break? What we used to do when we play chess is, so that I make sure that the other person has not changed, or even in this Monopoly, to make sure that the other people don't, we'll take a photo of the board, pack it up, go eat, come back and play again. Then what do? We'll start everyone in different places. One person will have a debt, one person will be rich. Hey, why did you start off with him rich and him as poor? We are continuing the last game. Like that. So the last game is being continued in that sense. Now, in the last game, one person would have finished the game. His character will not be there in the new game. In the same way, someone gets moksha, no more samsara for him. In that sense. Okay? If we can take it like that, it will be very clear. So, because we get so if this entire coming into samsara itself is a game, what guarantee is there that I won't come into samsara? It is one long game. So, if you have gotten out of the game at some point, you are done. Right? The second that in one piece that is why our culture is so nice that in Telugu, this game is there everywhere, but in Telugu there is one game. You know it called Vaikuntha Pali. You start off from 1 until the 8. What is one more name for this game? What is the board called? Paramapada Sopana Patamu. What a beautiful name for a game. The Patamu, this cloth is the Sopana, the staircase to Paramapada. How does this game end? When this piece ends up going to Vaikuntha, right? The last piece is Vaikuntha. You can call it Kailasa if you like Shiva, you can call it Manidvipa if you like Devi. But the point is to go there. Once you go there, the game is over. It is if it is staying there, then the game should be, the piece should stay there and everyone should stay playing the game after that. If that is the case. But that is not the case. The second you reach there, the game is over. The game is over and you don't have to keep playing. Whoever has not reached yet will keep playing. But whoever has finished is now no longer playing. Right? In the same way. And in this also, the nice thing is, in snakes and ladders, there are only snakes and ladders. In this Paramapada Sopana Pata, the snakes all have names. The ladders also have names. I don't remember exactly, but it will be like as you get closer to the highest thing, one snake will come. Its name will be Ahankara. And you will come down. There will be one more ladder. Its name will be something like Satsangatya. You will shoot up. The point is that even in a game like this, I remember because my mother used to play this with me. Right, and all the names will be written in Telugu. It was very popular in Andhra. I don't know about other states, but in Andhra at least it was a very popular game. Board game means this. Chess or this. So it's a very nice game in which the entire way that this Jagat is a game is shown to you. Clearly. Paramatma is sitting there in the 108th grid and watching. These jivas are all playing. He only has made the grid and given it to us. in that way. So in the same way, the muktas of the last cycle have become that Chaitanya, what the original untouched Chaitanya. Just as once one piece finishes its game, so one person is sitting rolling for all pieces. Once one piece finishes, that piece is now no longer even part of the game. So where did the individuality of that piece go? Back into where it came from. It is like that. So in the same way, the jivanmukta does not return. So now where did this start from? So in this game, the fact that these are the rules of the game, this many people will be playing. It came from that, because I said this many people are playing. We talked about all of this. So these differences are all decided by the creator of the game. The difference that I need to overtake that person in the game. That person is in front of me. I have a debt. All these things are, I want to collect money when I pass that spot. That property, I want it to be mine. All of this is the player. In the same way, in the jagat, a natural law. That is where we came from. So anything in the jagat that is natural, the natural progression of events is Ishwara's will. So the only difference that we say is that it is natural because that is how Ishwara willed it. So the thing is, when we will something and we do things, because we are not in control of the situation, it does not always become what we want. However, Ishwara, the word Ishwara means he who is in control. He is in control of every single thing. So he has arranged the situation and pushed it such that everything will happen exactly as he wants. So this is why we say that all natural law in this jagat is Ishwara Srishti, which is why even bhedas that we may see in the jagat later on, such as one child is born, Ishwara did not create that child out of a lump of mud, and then one more child is born. These two are different. But it is only natural that they are different because their bodies are different. This naturally different means this difference is Ishwara Sankalpa. Like that. So I am just born. My body is different from that tree. Why is this? Is this jiva krita? The jiva has not decided this. Whether the jiva wants it or not, this body is different from the tree. Because the tree is naturally different from the body. Right. So this is Ishwara Sankalpa. There is one more thing. That tree is a good tree. Ishwara only created the tree. He didn't create the good. Right. Someone else hates that tree. There is an example will be given in this only. Some object is there. Ishwara willed it, so the object came. I like this object, someone else doesn't like the object. This object is a good object, bad object. This difference is of the jiva's making. Ishwara is not responsible for that. It is not Ishwara's fault. It is the jiva's fault because the jiva also has a consciousness. He also has a will. Within the framework of the game, he has a will. Obviously, the end point of the game that they are going, they'll finish here is Ishwara's will. Where they start, where they finish is Ishwara's will. But within the game, the jiva has some will. So within the game, the jiva does some things to himself. That is his jiva krita dvaita. So that is why Ishwarena pi jivena srishtam dvaitam vivichyate. Viveke sati jivena heyo bandhas phuti bhavet. So what is the point of this? The point is that we are all still jivas. The least we can do is, if we get rid of our dvaita, the dvaita created by Ishwara does not pose a problem. That is the point of this prakarana, that there is some dvaita of the jiva's making, there is some dvaita of Ishwara's making. Ishwara's dvaita is not at all a problem. The dvaita that the jiva makes for himself is why we suffer. That is the main proposition in this. So we will start by looking at what Ishwara did, and then we will look at what the jiva did. So, Mayam to Prakritin Vidyan Mayinantu Maheshwaram Samaya Sridityahu Shvetashvatara Shakhinaha. In the Shvetashvatara Upanishad there is that Mayam to Prakritin Vidyan Mayinantu Maheshwaram. No Maya to be Prakriti, the Maya is Maheshwara, Ishwara. So that is there. So with that Maya, Ishwara creates everything. Atmava idamagre abhut sa ikshata srija iti sankalpena srijal lokan sa etaniti bahvrichaha. In the Aitareya Upanishad, one more vakya is there that Atma Eka Asit. Only the Atma was there, and through his Sankalpa he created all of this. What did he create? Kham Vay Vagni Jala Urvi Oshadhyanna Deha Kramat. In order, Atmana Akasha Sambhota Akasha Dvayo Vayo Agni Agnerapa Adhya Prithvi Prithivya Oshadhya Oshadhivhannam Annat Purushaha. This is everything that he created. Then, so that all happened. Idamagre Sadevasit Bahutvaya tadaikshata tejobannanda jadini sasarjeti cha samagaha in Chandogya tadaikshata. Aikshata means it did a sankalpa, it willed something that bahusyam prajaya, let me become many. Tat tejosrita, it created Agni. Tat aposrita, it created water. Tat annamasrita, it created bhumi. So all of this is talking about Ishwara's srishti. So this is the Dvaita that Ishwara has created. Tejas, Jala is different from Agni, is different from Vayu, is different from Bhumi, and therefore anything that comes of these also is different. So all Ishwara has to do is create the Panchabhutas. Now any difference arising of the products of the Panchabhutas also, therefore the difference is also of Ishwara's making only. Right? So if I have written 2 books, the difference between one page of one book and the page in the other book is also created by me only. In the same way, any difference that comes out of the results of Prithvi or the results of Tejas are also different from each other. All of this is attributed to Ishwara alone. So that is all there. Then there is one more statement that is there. From Ishwara things come out, into Ishwara things go again. Visphulinga yatha vanher jayante aksharatas vividhaschid jada bhavaha ityatharvanika shruti in the Mundakopanishad. So, yatha sudiptat pavakat visphulingaha samutpadyante. Then tatheva samya bhavaha punarevapi yanti. Tatheva vividha somya bhavaha prajayante punarevapi yanti. The mantra is like that in the Mundakopanishad. Like sparks come out of a flame and they fall back into the flame. In the same way, from Ishwara, various bhavaha, various objects, whether sentient or insentient, come out and then they mix back into Ishwara. So in this way, Ishwara has created the entire jagat. Then one more thing has to be there, that you have to give it names and forms. Is this created by the jiva or Ishwara? We will think it is the jiva actually. We will think it is jiva, but actually this also is technically Ishwara. We will see how that is. So jagat avyakritam purvam asit. So all the things are created. They were not specifically divided. In the sense that we will see that we will have one box in the kitchen. It will have all the different dals in it for the tadka. So urad dal, chana dal, jeera, what is that? Aval. All of these will be there. Unfortunately, if one child comes by and he hits it, everything will fall on the ground and this will all become yatra sarve veda eki bhavanti. They will all become one. So now, this is how the jagat is. It has to be separated back. Chana dal has to go back into its thing, urad dal has to go back into its thing, jeera has to become separate. That is a vyakrita jagat. So now you are saying, someone has to say, jeera, you come to the side. Chana dal, you come to the side. Someone has to do that. That is what Ishwara is doing. That is what we say, vyakarana. Vyakarana means to separate. Grammar is also called that because you are separating proper usage from improper usage. That is why grammar is also called vyakarana. But this vyakarana, Ishwara only does. He does it through the jiva. So it is not even that the jiva is doing it on his own. The jiva is doing, Ishwara is doing it through the jiva. That is why the in Chandogya the mantra that is being told is Tatra krutva rupantaram jaivam dehe pravishad Ishwara. Ishwara, through the form of the jiva, through the jiva's body, itata shritayah praho jivatvam pranadharana. So the point is, there is a vakya in the Chandogya. Ishwara thought, having created the tejas up and anna, the panchabhutas, having created the panchabhutas, he thought, hanta imas tisro devataha anena jivatmana namarupabhyam vyakaravani. Hanta means bhesh. I have done a very good job with this now. Jivatmana, through the jiva, imani hanta imas tisro devataha jivatmana anupravishya. I shall enter these panchabhutas through the jiva and do namarupe vyakaravani. I shall separate out all their names and forms. So basically, here the point is that whatever sankalpa that the jiva has to name something this way or make something a certain way, all of that is Ishwara's sankalpa only. In the sense that when a carpenter sits down and he makes something out of wood, theoretically this should be jiva srishti. But we don't call it jiva srishti. We will still say that this Dvaita is Ishwara's. Because it is not the jiva's mental imposition. The fact that the jiva should make this is Ishwara's will. Someone writes a book, this book should come from this person is Ishwara's will. The particulars of the book, the jiva may think that he is doing. But exactly that this book should come is Ishwara's will. In the same way, that is what we say, Ishwaraha jivatmana. Ishwara, through the jiva, gets certain things done. Who said that a cow should be named a cow? He'll say that some jiva said, this is, I think, this four-legged animal should be called a cow. What will say? This is Ishwara's sankalpa. That particular prerana to the jiva should come that the name cow will fit here. And the cow did this, he named it a cow. So now naming the cow was done by Ishwara only through the jiva. Just as we said that Ishwara will set his will in place. In the frame of things, his will is that certain things have certain names. Certain things look a certain way. He will set these things in motion such that that happens. We still have not come to the concept of free will wherein the jiva is doing things and thinking things. Good, bad, I want this, I want that is not Ishwara. That is the jiva. This is Ishwara. There is, if we see this small difference, things that are as they are Ishwara. Things that are good and bad, wanted, not wanted, all are the workings of the jiva. So, Ishwara through the jiva also gave rise to the names and forms. Right? Yeah, that is why even the Hayagriva Stotra, there is that shloka. You only have done Nama Rupe Vyakurvana when shloka comes in the Hayagriva Stotra also. This is talking about that only. So then what is the jiva now? So we have finished. This is Ishwara Srishti. So Ishwara has created this, and also the jiva also technically is created by Ishwara. Because what is the jiva? That is being defined now. Chaitanyam yadadhishthanam lingadehascha yaf punaha chichaya lingadehasta tatsangha jiva uchyate. The sukshma sharira is there, right? The sukshma sharira is what? The antahkarana. So Chaitanya as confined by the antahkarana is what we call the jiva. Who created the antahkarana? Ishwara. Who created this sthula sharira? Also Ishwara. So if we say that the jiva is Chaitanya as limited by this body, then technically who created the jiva? Ishwara only. Because Chaitanya Ishwara did not create. But the fact that this individual is this limited by this, the limitation is created by Ishwara, therefore the jiva also is created by Ishwara. So now we have gotten that the Panchabhutas, their particulars, the names and forms of the effects of those Panchabhutas, and the multiplicity of jivas. All of this is created by Ishwara. So then, Isha Srishtamidam Dvaitam Sarvamuktam Samasataha. So, in a very short way, the nature of Dvaita created by Ishwara has been described. Now, in 10 minutes, quickly we'll look at what the jiva has done. Now, there is this concept of what is enjoyed by the jiva. Whatever is enjoyed by the jiva is called anna. Adyate tyacha bhutani. Adyate means that which is eaten, that which is enjoyed. That which is enjoyed is called anna. So, the Brihadaranya Upanishad has said that all things that are enjoyed in this jagat or annas will fall into 7, or not all, but it has put out 7 different kinds of anna. That is Martyannam ekam, Devanne dve, Pashvannam chaturthakam, Anyat tritayam, Atmartham anya annanam viniyojitam. So the anna of the jiva is 1, Vrihyadikam, grains. Then the anna of the devatas are 2, Darsha Purnamaso, 2 types of yagas. Then for Pashuvannam, for Pashus, for animals, Kshiram, milk. Then for the Atma, Vak, Prana, Manas, life, speech and the mind. These are the anna of the jiva. So these are 7 things. This is not saying that all things that are experienced are these 7, but these 7 are told that humans derive their sustenance through various types of grains. Animals derive their sustenance through milk, not just milk, many other things also. Devatas derive their sustenance through the havis offered in yagas. The jiva gets his sense of identity from these things, the vak, manas, prana. So now we say that Ishena yadyapyetani nirmitani swarupataha. Technically these are all created by Ishwara. That means that milk, the vak, manas, prana, these yagas, all of these are created by Ishwara. See, even if it is a cow that gives milk, we have discussed how technically it is still Ishwara. That is the cause of that. Because the cow giving milk is natural. So, This natural process is Ishwara's sankalpa. So when you say Ishwara does something, it is not that Ishwara is sitting there doing it. Ishwara's will has made it that way. Right? That is why we say sankalpatma vibho srishti is one vakya that is there. Ishwara srishti is sankalpatmaka. It is not like a carpenter where he has to sit doing something. His will is what makes things happen. Right? So Ishwara has caused all of these 7 annas to come into being. Where does the jiva's role come? Tathapi jnana karmabhyam jivaha akarshit tad annatam. The annatva is caused by the jiva in the sense that I want to eat this. This is the jiva's doing. These yagas exist, milk exists, animals exist, grain exists. Their existence is Ishwara's doing. The fact that this is my food, I will eat that. That is being experienced by me. All of this is completely the jiva's idea. So, the jivaha jnana karmabhyam, through his thought and action, he made annatvam. Their annaness he has made. The objects Ishvara has made. So, that is to say that there is some plant. A banana tree is always there. The banana has always been there. The jiva has made it into food. There is a small difference, right? When the banana tree was always there, it was always a banana. The jiva has made it food. This making of food is because the jiva has chosen to have a particular relationship with that, saying, I want that to be mine. I have a need, I want that to fulfill that need. That is what food is, right? When the jiva said he made it his food, that is what we mean. That needs to be mine. I like that, I want it to be mine. I wish to enjoy that. Wishing to enjoy it, jnana, that is a thought. Karma, he takes it and he eats it, ensuring that it is actually enjoyed by him. So, the annatva, the nature of that being anna is created by the jiva. The object is created by Ishvara. The object of the nature of that entity as an object of enjoyment is created by the jiva. So that is one thing that is done. So Ishakaryam jiva bhogyam jagadvabhyam samanvitam. So this entire jagat can be viewed into 2 lenses. Ishakaryam, created by Ishvara, jiva bhogyam, experienced by the jiva. What is an example of this? Pitrujanya bhartrubhogya yatha yoshit tatheshyatam. One lady is there. Her father gave birth to her. Her husband enjoys the pleasure of her company. Right? Once she gets married and goes to the husband's house, the husband is who is enjoying being with her, talking with her, eating her food. All of that is, she is being enjoyed by the husband. But she is created by the father. So just as one person creates, someone else enjoys. It is in the same way that Ishvara creates, Jiva enjoys. Which is why, see, people have this thing that, see, Ishvara already had a blueprint for the Jagat. Whatever is happening is what he wanted to happen. It is not that he has any particular thing towards that I should enjoy it. Why should I have any gratitude towards him? Simple answer is because the proposition itself is wrong. The entire creation of this cosmos is for you to enjoy it. Just as the father gives birth, but who is enjoying the companionship of that woman until she dies? Or until whichever one goes first, the husband, right? So it is that is why the point of Kanyadana is such a nice thing, that these parents who have so lovingly brought up this young lady are now giving her to me such that I can benefit from her in my life. She can benefit from me, I can benefit from her. That is why there is this beautiful sentiment associated, and why the Vara is supposed to be grateful to his in-laws. It is the same thing with the Jagat also. It is not like, Ayyo, Ishvara has dumped me in this misery. Right? The point is, Ishvara has given so much for me to experience. And he has done it. There is nothing that he gets out of it. It is completely for me. So this gratitude of the Jiva towards Ishvara comes from this nature as well. In that Ishvara creates, but the experience of the Jagat is the Jivas. The problem is the Jiva spoils his own experience, much as many people spoil their own marriages. If you want to keep the simile continuing. Maya vrityatmako hisha sankalpaha sadhanam jano. Manovrityatmako jiva sankalpaha bhoga sadhanam. Which is why here he is saying that Ishvara's srishti is done through his sankalpa. This needs to be like this. Ishvara's sankalpa and it happens. The jiva sankalpa is a bit different. Manovrityatmakaha. The mind starts working and the jiva has a srishti. I like this to be like this. I want it would be better if this was like that. I will prefer if this is like that. Ishwara srishti, none of this is there. Cow 4 legs means it will have 4 legs. End of the day. Jiva means if 5 legs are there, it will be nice. I will go engineer a new cow. That is a jiva's thing. So the thing is that Ishwara's srishti is a sankalpa. It will be like this and he does it. There is no space for ragadvesha for Ishwara because Ishwara does not have ragadvesha. So Ishwara's point is, for the jagat to happen in this way, this is how it should be. Hence, I have designed it this way, let it be this way. That is it. Not, I want the jagat to be like this so something happens for me. I want the jagat to be like this way because I don't want something to happen. Ishwara has none of this. The jagat needs to be a certain way for what has to happen in it. So Ishwara will design it in that way and let it go. The jiva does not do that. He wants things to be a certain way. He wants things to be nice for him. He does not want things to be bad for him. He wants pleasure. He does not want pain. And he seeks to engineer everything such that that can happen. This nature of the jiva to do this is the jiva srishti. Ishwara's nature that the jagat has a natural progression, so I will design it such that it progresses naturally, is Ishwara srishti. So that is why Maya vrityatmako Isha sankalpaha. So Ishwara's sankalpa is what causes srishti. But for the jiva it is the manovritti, wherein raga and manovritti here means raga and dvesha. The raga and the dvesha cause the jiva to put new aspects into the jagat that Ishwara has not put into the jagat. So then the example is coming. Isha nirmita manyado. There is a gem. The gem has come about through Ishwara sankalpa. Ishwara has decided that these particular minerals, when exposed to certain heats and temperatures, will fuse to form a new chemical structure. It will be crystalline or something and it will become this particular gem. This through Ishwara sankalpa, the natural progression of the srishti has gone and this gem has become a precious stone and it has been found in the depths of the earth. Then what happens? Vastuni eka vidhe sthite. See, the qualities of that gem, it is this heavy, it has this much mass to it, it is a conductor. All of this is its yathartha swarupa, the gem as it is. Now, along comes the jiva. Bhoktrudhi vritti nanatva dad bhogo bahudheshyate. The experience of this gem though becomes manifold based on the bhokta, the jiva. Ishwara has made the gem in one way. What has Ishwara made? This is a conducting metal. This is the nature of this stone. The crystalline structure will be this. This is Ishwara sankalpa. But all of a sudden, the jiva comes along. What does he do? Ishyatyeko manim. One person wants that money. Labdha, Tushyatyeko manim labdha. One person finds that stone and is happy. Krudhyatyanyo alabhataha. One person loses the stone and gets angry. Then Pashyatyeva viraktotra na hrishyati na kupyati. One person, even though he is seeing the stone, does not really care about whether he has it or not. So he is not happy or sad. So stone is good, stone is bad, stone is indifferent. This is created by the jiva. See, Ishwara did not create the gem and say, this will cause happiness in people. That is not Ishwara srishti. That is completely the jiva. This stone will cause anger to some people. This also Ishwara did not do. This stone people will not care about. That also Ishwara did not do. Whether you like it, dislike it or are ambivalent to it is completely of your choice. Right? That is the difference. So, priyaha, apriyaha, upekshaha iti akaraha manigaha trayaha srishta jivaihi. So, the fact that niceness, being pleasant, being unpleasant, being ambivalent, this is of the jiva's making. Isha srishtam rupam sadharanam trisho. The money is nice. The money in its own nature is what Ishwara creates. Being nice is what the jiva has done. The money is not nice. This also the jiva has done. Money is what the Ishwara has created in this way. So therefore, bharya snusha nanandacha yata matet yanekadha Pratiyogi dhiya yoshit bhidyate na swarupataha. They are continuing with the analogy of a woman. So she is for the husband a bharya, for the father-in-law snusha, daughter-in-law. Then nananda means husband's sister, sister-in-law. Then yata means husband's brother's wife. Then mata, mother. One woman is all of this. So what has her father given birth to? He has given birth to a human being. A person with 2 hands, 2 legs, a head, 2 eyes, a nose, 32 teeth. This is what he has created. He did not create motherhood, daughter-in-lawhood, friendhood, nothing in this is created. Who has actually created motherhood? The sun. Very strange. We think that the mother has given birth to the son. But actually the sun has made her a mother. Right? So this is exactly what we mean by jiva srishti, in that Ishwara has given the jivas the jagat. The jiva has made the jagat into dukkha. That is how srishti has happened. So Ishwara has given the jagat as it is, without ragadvesha. The jiva has said, this is mine, this is not mine, this is good, this is not good, this is preferable, this is not preferable. Therefore, he experiences dukkha in samsara. Then, in the same way, nanu jnanani bhidyantam. Let the perceptions change. Manihi priyaha, manihi apriyaha, manihi udasinaha. These perceptions are all different, but the mani does not change. What does not change is what Ishwara has given us. What has changed is what we have made of the situation. Then there is one last thing that we have to talk about here is that, let that be, but maivam mamsamayi yoshit kachid anya manomai mamsamaya abhedepi bhidyatehi manomai. So, when the jiva experiences some object in a certain way, let us take the money. When the jiva experiences precious stone, in one particular way, the stone also technically is created by the jiva. How is this possible? Let us quickly understand how perception happens. So, what the Advaitic stance of perception is, that is to say through the senses, is the manas through a particular indriya goes to the object. Depending on what indriya it goes through, it will perceive a particular part of the object. For example, if it goes through the eye, it will be able to perceive the form. If it goes through the ear, it will be able to perceive the sound. If it goes through the skin, it will be able to perceive the touch. But at the end of the day, the mind is acting outward through an indriya. It will go to the object and form itself in the same form of the object. The jiva's chaitanya reflected in that form of the mind creates the perception of the object. So now, if you see what the jiva has actually experienced, it is not the object. He has actually experienced his mental perception of the object. Have you understood the subtlety there? The mind has formed itself into the form of the object, and the chaitanya has reflected in the mind. So now the mind has assumed the form of the object. The object itself has not been experienced. The mind in the same form of the object has been experienced. So when the jiva has experienced this gemstone, what he has actually experienced is his mental conception of that gemstone. Which is why for the jiva now, the gemstone, the mani, becomes inseparable from whatever he feels about it. If it was just the gemstone that he was seeing, Ishwara has not put any raga or dvesha into that. But it is because the gemstone that the jiva is perceiving is tied up with raga dvesha, such that now as soon as you say gem, he says I want. As soon as you say roga, he says I don't want. Right? Why is this immediate identification coming? Because his mental perception of the object is so tied up with his raga dveshas. So in that way, the object of enjoyment is created by the jiva. The object is created by Ishwara. Understood? So because that is the case, simple. So this is the way that it is told. Then, for this reason, it is told that the Dvaita created by the jiva is the cause of sorrow. Ishwara's Dvaita has nothing to do with it. So you have, it is not Ishwara that causes samsara, it is the jiva alone, kind of thing. In the sense that the sorrow of samsara is completely attributable to the jiva, it is not Ishwara's fault. That is the thing. That is what is told here. Satyevam अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम धीमयः जीव बंधकृत सत्यस्मिन् सुख दुःखेस्तः तस्मिन् असति न द्वयम्. Because only when the mind perceives things, we find that dukkha is there. When the mind stops perceiving things, even though things are there, there is no problem that he has. So, we see this that you fight with someone, especially a family member. Let us say the husband and the wife fight, let us say, or the mother and the child fight. The child will be extremely angry with the mother. She sleeps having dvesha towards the mother. Anger is dvesha, right? A very mild form of dvesha. So she sleeps having dvesha towards the mother. If indeed the mother were the cause of this dvesha, even at night that dvesha should persist. But it does not. Even though the mother is right next to the child does not have any sorrow. Why? Whatever the child's mind is feeling about the mother is not there. Right? That concept that the child's mind forms a picture of the mother, then whatever raga dveshas there are then imposed on it. This nonsense is not there. Therefore, the mother does not cause, the mother who is actually Ishwara Srishti, right? The mother does not cause the child any sorrow. But once the child wakes up and the child is angry with the mother, then immediately once again it starts causing the child sorrow. Why? The child's mental perception of the mother is what is causing it sorrow. So the simple proposition is that there can be 1,000 mountains, 50,000 trees and 10,000 other people in this prapancha also. All of this is attributable to Ishwara. But the sorrow or happiness that comes out of that is completely up to your perception. It is not Ishwara's fault. So we cannot blame Ishwara for our sufferings or our happiness. We can thank him for our happiness, because if we are experiencing something that is nice, he only has put it in front of us. So you can say, thank you for giving me something nice. But at the end of the day, it is because we have raga that we are finding it nice. The same gemstone that this person is very happy that he has found, a jnani will look at it and say, there is no difference in this. Right? He says, you might as well give me a stone. There is no need to give me a gem. So, in this way, Ishwara is not responsible for our happiness or unhappiness. It is completely our likes and dislikes which we have made for ourselves. See, Ishwara does not create the likes and dislikes in the jivas, right? Namedveshyaste napriyaha. That is the point. Ishwara does not say, I will want this person to hate this and thereby experience sorrow. I will want this person to like something and thereby him experience sukha. Because Ishwara himself is untouched by this person being happy or this person being unhappy. Ishwara being Sarvajna, Brahman is happiness, right? That nature will never go. So Ishwara has no need to obtain happiness through someone experiencing happiness or sorrow. In the same way, Ishwara also will not obtain sorrow through someone being sad. What Ishwara will want is, let them progress till the end of the game. That is what Ishwara wants. In the game, if they say, Ayyo, the other piece is crossing me, what can Ishwara do about that? He has made the game, he has ensured that at some point you will get to the end if you play the game. Right? So that is all that Ishwara has to do with it. So the happiness and sorrow that we experience based on objects is completely up to us. Ishwara has nothing to do with that. So the happiness and sorrow and the cause of that happiness and sorrow which are raga dvesha are of our making, not Ishwara's. So therefore, it is told that ataha sarvasya jivasya bandhakran manasam jagat. And they have given one more example to say that it is only the mind, not the actual object. दूरदेशं गते पुत्रे जीवत्येवात्र तत्पिता विप्रम्भकवाक्येन मृतं मत्वा प्ररोदिति मृतेपि तस्मिन् वार्तायाम् अश्रुतायां न रोदिति. The son has gone abroad. Some mischievous fellow has come and told the father that your son has passed away. He will start crying. Why? His mental image of the son, right? When he thinks of the son, there is a mental image that he is experiencing. That which he has raga for, he is thinking it is now gone. The son that he has created in his mind, that is the mental picture of the son that is experienced, is the cause for his sorrow there. That is why he is crying. If it were the son that is the cause for the sorrow, the son is still alive. He should not be crying. On the flip side again, the son has actually passed away. No one has told him. He is still, I love my son so much. Samattu kutti kind of thing he is saying to himself. Right? So he is, even though the son is gone, then if the son is the cause of happiness, then he should be sad that the son has passed away. But he doesn't know, because the mental image of the son has persisted. So at the end of the day, happiness and sorrow are completely based on our mental perception, not on the object itself. Therefore, ataha sarvasya jivasya bandhakrit manasam jagat. Therefore, it is whatever the mind creates that is the cause for the bondage of the jiva, not what Ishwara creates. So, for a jivanmukta, what happens? The manasa jagat goes. The Ishwara jagat continues, but he is not bound because the cause for bondage is the manasa jagat. Which is why the jivanmukta, that is one more thing that we have to say. I am trying to also answer some frequently asked questions about Advaita. For a jivanmukta, what need is there for bhakti for a jivanmukta? Right, he is done with everything that he needs. It is because the jivanmukta will see this jagat and say, Ishwara has done this. He will see the true value of what Ishwara has done. Someone who is obsessed with finding the gem, or someone who is obsessed with the fact that they have not yet gotten the gem, or someone who is so happy that they have gotten the gem and trying to value it, will not understand the natural beauty of the gem. The jivanmukta will understand the natural beauty of what Ishwara has made. And that aside, Ishwara also will be understood by the jnani without raga or dvesha. Because even the jiva, when he is experiencing Ishwara, will still have raga dvesha there. In the sense that, I want Ishwara to get rid of anything that causes me dvesha, and I want Ishwara to give me anything that I have raga for. The more that I see Ishwara is giving me this, the more I will love him. If I see that Ishwara is consistently pushing me into sorrow, my emotional relationship with him will start to deteriorate. This will happen because the jiva's perception of Ishwara, of course, will be colored by raga and dvesha. How many people do we see that don't have Vishnu dvesha or Shiva dvesha? What is Vishnu or Shiva the cause of that? Completely, of course not. It is completely the jiva's thing. See, he likes some name and form. He wants that to be absolute. So anything to the opposite of that, he is saying is not good. Right? That is exactly why a jnani may worship Shiva. A Rakshasa will also worship Shiva. It is not Shiva's fault. Right? The point is the Rakshasa will worship Shiva with excess of raga dvesha. Hiranyakashipu will do tapas such that whatever he wants raga for, he will try to get, whatever he wants dvesha for, he will try to get rid of. When Prahlada sees that same Narasimha, when sees that Paramatma, his perception is completely different. Because Paramatma is a jnani. He says, if I ask for anything from you, it will be a vyapara, it will be a business. Nasa bhakta, yastu ashisham ashaste, nasa bhakta savai vanik. Anyone who seeks something from you is not a bhakta, he is a businessman. Because he is not loving you as you are. He is loving his mental picture of you. Just as for the money, we said that the jiva does not actually want the money. The jiva wants his mental perception of what the money is. In the same way, an ajnani's bhakti will be that he will want his mental perception of what Ishwara should be, not what Ishwara actually is. Ajnani though, that is why Bhagavan says in the Gita that Ajnani will love Ishwara beyond what anyone else can, because Ajnani will realize what Ishwara is as he is, which is that Chaitanya itself, that Parabrahma itself, which is his own Atma at the end of the day. So the Muni or the Jnani will have the utmost bhakti towards Paramatma because it is not colored by his manasa srishti. His srishti is not there in his perception of Ishwara. He will see Ishwara as Ishwara actually is, which is why even more than Prahlada, even more than Gajendra or Draupadi or Uddhava, Prahlada will experience Paramatma the most. He will love Paramatma the most because Prahlada is not experiencing his mental perception of Paramatma. He is experiencing Paramatma as is without his mental perception clouding it. Which is why the Jnani's bhakti is so great, the jivanmukta's bhakti is so great. The jiva's dvaita though, but again to clarify, the ajnani's bhakti towards Ishvara is still very good, which is why Bhagavan says, Udaras sarva evaite. Out of all the forms of bhakti, anyone who has bhakti towards me is still Udara. That is why Sukritinaha, he says about the bhaktas, right? Chaturvidha bhajante mam janas Sukritinaha. The very idea that regardless of my raga dvesha, the object of my prarthana should be Ishvara and not some other object. Not something that Ishvara has created, but Ishvara himself should be the object, is bhakti. I want Ishvara, not something that Ishvara has created. This much is enough for bhakti. This will only also come through great punya. Only if you have a particular purity of mind will you even be able to say that I don't want the money, I want Ishvara to give me the money. Right? There is a small difference. I want to know this. By Ishwara's prasada, I want to know this. Right, I want to eat this. By Ishwara's prasada, I want to eat this. Or as per Ishwara's sankalpa, I want to eat this. There is a marked difference in these two approaches to life. The second one, even the Dvaita Bhakti. See, the Dvaita Bhakti is nowhere negated. The Dvaita Bhakti is not only is great, it is mandated for our state right now. Right, so that is mandated in the sense that the raga dveshas that you have, don't apply it directly to the object. Keep Ishvara as a byproduct, as a medium. Anything you see in this jagat, do not try to see it as something that you like or dislike. Try to see it as something that Ishvara has put in front of you. Because that object has two natures. It is your object of enjoyment. It is also created by Ishvara. So put aside your mental perception of it and see it as something that is created by Ishvara. Which is why when we seek to know Brahman, how are we taught to know Brahman? Meditate upon Brahman as a Srishti Sthiti Laya Karta. Why? What do I get from that? Everything that you see, keep in mind that it has come from him. Everything that you see, remember that it will go back into him. Everything that you see, remember that it exists right now because of him. If you see that, it will push you into the Jnana Marga. This nature of seeing Paramatma Srishti Sthiti Laya Karta is the best way to get rid of your raga dveshas towards the jagat, increase your love towards Paramatma, and at the end of the day see Paramatma bereft of the jagat, which is the proper way to see Paramatma. That is what a jnani will see. So the nature of this Dvaita Bhakti too is such that it will get rid of your raga dveshas and allow you to see what Paramatma actually is. What is Paramatma actually? Because Paramatma bereft of the jagat, right? What is Ishvara without the jagat? Brahman. So what is the jnani actually seeing? Brahman. What is he experiencing within? That is why jnani tvatmaiva mematam. That is how Krishna has told that. The jnani sees Ishvara uncolored by the jagat. Which is why the jnani's bhakti of Ishvara will surpass all else. This Dvaita Bhakti serves to reduce our raga dveshas towards the jagat and our focus on Ishvara. If you truly love Ishvara, it should come to the point where right now I am still understanding him through the network of my raga and dveshas and my manovritti. I want to at some point understand him as he truly is, bereft of all of this. If at some point that happens, you have gotten jnana. Right? So that is the point of understanding this jiva srishti and Ishvara srishti. If we have the point of telling this is that our sorrow in this jagat is completely of our own making. Our mental perception of an object is what is causing sorrow, not the object itself. So it is not Ishvara's mistake. One last shloka actually I want to tell because it is quite a beautiful statement. Abadham sadhakancha dvaitam abadhakam sadhakancha dvaitam Ishvara nirmitam apanetu mashakyancheti astam tad vishyate kutaha. So the Dvaita created by Ishvara is not a badhaka, in fact. It is not a hindrance. It is actually a sadhaka. It is a help. Because without this, see, we are in this jagat. Without a guru, without shastra, without a mind in which to conduct contemplation, without a body to house that mind, without all the resources in the prapancha needed to keep that body happy such that the mind can work, where did all of this come from? Ishvara only has given it to us. So in fact the Dvaita created by Ishvara is not a hindrance. It is like pushing us, get out of this game, get out of this game. He has given us everything that we need. What have we done? We have said, no, I don't want to get out of the game. I like staying in this game. I want to keep going around the board without finishing the game. I want to keep climbing ladders and being swallowed by snakes and climb one more ladder and swallow one more snake. Ishvara has said, look, you go forward, you will reach that last square. Go. We say, no, I like climbing ladders. The problem is, as you try to get to a ladder, a snake will come in the middle. There is no ladder without a snake. So, this ladder and snake concept, we only have put. As long as we keep setting ladders for ourselves and we keep putting snakes that swallow us, we will never get to the end. Ishvara has only put a game board and a dice such that you roll and move forward. But The fact that I want to stay here, I want to revel in this, is completely of our making. Ishwara has given us, that is what Vidyaranya Swami here wrote, he has given us Veda and Shastra and a Guru. He has come as the Guru, he has given us all the appendages, all the instruments that we need for Jnana, and he has given us Shastra as well to tell us what that is supposed to be like. What more could he have done for us? So, the Dvaita created by Ishwara, the multiplicity of the Jagat created by Ishwara, is not a hindrance. Not even do we have to view it as ambivalent, but it is in fact, I am this, this is mine. If that can be put aside, you see the Jagat in its true beauty as Ishwara created it. And through that Jagat, you see Ishwara as well. In Ishwara, you see that Atma Padartha. That is the sequence. So, the jivanmukta is of that nature. So, if we can understand this Jiva Kritadvaita and Ishwara Kritadvaita, we will not only be understanding Ishwara, we will first prayerna is we will get rid of whatever causes sorrow right now. Benefit number 2, this Jagat we will be able to see in its true beauty without our perception coloring it. Right? For example, a quick example like fire. As soon as we see fire, we get scared. If we actually sit and watch the flame itself is actually quite beautiful. If you look at all the shades of the colors in it, if you look at how it flickers, if you look at the shapes that it takes, there is actually a quite nice beauty to fire. And children appreciate this beauty. That is why they are drawn to it. They don't have the dvesha that we have towards fire. Which is why as soon as the fire comes, we immediately associate something with it. If we don't have any raga dvesha towards it, we will be able to appreciate its beauty as it is. So, the benefit number 2 of understanding this difference is that you will be able to see the Jagat as it is and therefore appreciate it. Benefit number 3, and the main benefit is that if you put what you have done aside, your mind created Jagat aside, what is left is simply Ishwara. If you understand Ishwara as he is, you have understood the Atma. If you have understood the Atma, you are out of samsara. Game close, you are done, you are kritartha. You have finished the game, you have attained the highest goal that can be attained by playing this game, which is to finish the game. So in this way, this Jiva Kritad, and then in this there are more things. The Jiva Kritadvaita is again twofold, Shastriya and Ashastriya. So we talked about this Bhakti helping, right? All the mental tendencies that the Jiva creates, those mental tendencies that he has created as per Shastra help him to get out of it. The mental tendencies that are not as per Shastra in fact push him even more into it. So even within the Jiva Kritadvaita, we are pushed towards, you keep the duality, but keep the Shastriya duality, such that my Guru, my Ishwara, Ishwara is my protector. This is also duality. But inculcate it in the way that has been mentioned by the Shastras. That will help you through the duality surpass the duality. And if you then can put that aside finally, then you can get out of the duality. And then you appreciate the true beauty. So the last shloka I will tell is one of Madhusudana Saraswati, who we know as a stalwart of Advaita. He writes one shloka, Dvaitam mohaya bodhat prak, bodhe prapte manishaya, pujartham kalpitam dvaitam, advaitadapi sundaram. He says. So before I got jnana, Dvaita, multiplicity, was a hindrance. This Dvaita is what? The Jivakrita Dvaita. The Dvaita that I experienced before I got jnana, that is to say, the Jivakrita Dvaita was bandhaya, mohaya, it deluded me, it was a problem. Bodhe prapte manishaya, once with proper jnana I have achieved that realization, pujartham kalpitam dvaitam, the Dvaita that allows me to perform puja. Which Dvaita is that? Ishwara Krita Dvaita, Advaitadapi Sundaram. The fact that Advaita Paramatma has given me such a game to play and is now allowing me to see him not just as he is but also through this game. How beautiful is it? So that is why Madhusudana says that the Jiva Krita Dvaita and Ishwara Krita Dvaita mix. If you set aside the Jiva Krita Dvaita is what causes moha. If you set that aside, all that is left is the Ishwara Krita Dvaita. This Ishwara Krita Dvaita is not contradictory to Advaita. And therefore it is very beautiful. Right? It is why Krishna had so much fun. As Paramatma, he came and he played with everyone. Whether the Gopas climbed on him or whether they gave him something, he was still happy because Paramatma is obviously that Advaita and he is experiencing his Ishwara Krita Advaita without any Ragadvesha. Right? So this Jagat then ceases to become punishment, and it instead becomes a lila. Right? The jivanmukta, that is why the acharyas, regardless of what happens, they are always happy. Because they are not only experiencing that Advaita, they also are understanding the Dvaita created by Ishwara as it is. And this Dvaita makes them appreciate Ishwara even more. Because as jivanmuktas, the body is still there. So the relationship between the jiva and Ishwara is still maintained. So as long as that is there, the appreciation of Ishwara will be even greater than someone who is stuck in Dvaita. Once the body also goes, whatever it is, that is the jiva, right? Chaitanya as defined by something. That limiting factor has gone. So now there is no more enjoyer and enjoyment also. Only one Brahman is there. So if the Jivakrita Dvaita goes, a Jivanmukta will appreciate Ishwara more than anyone else can. An Advaita Jnani, who is a Jivanmukta, will appreciate Ishwara more than any Dvaita Bhakta ever can. But once the body also goes, then he merges with the proper Nirguna Paramatma. In this way, this Dvaita Viveka has been described. Panchadashi is this beautiful. Such nice concepts have been brought out that are very simple but have a profound impact on how we view our sadhana. Because it is one thing to talk about Nirguna Paramatma, but how do we approach that Paramatma? As we started, that is what each Upanishad does. It shows us a different way to approach that Paramatma. And these 15 chapters are meant to do the very same, a different way, 15 different ways to approach our sadhana. Right? Paramatma's nature is that Satyam Jnanavanantam Brahma will never change. But what can I do to best get closer to that is what will change. So Vidyaranya Mahaswami, just like every other jagadguru of this Sharada Pitha, despite being a jivanmukta, despite having nothing else to achieve himself, has written this book solely for our benefit, such that others can also experience that Advaita Sukha that he himself was reveling in. So, offering my namaskaras to that Vidyaranya Mahaswami, the Guru Parampara, and the current manifestations of that Guru Parampara who we see today as Jagadguru Sri Mahasanidhanam Varu and Sannidhanam Varu. I will close this lecture here. Jagat Janmadi Lakshiyaya Svecha Svikritamurtaye Vidhvastakhila Heyaya Shri Nrasimhaya Mangalam Ityesha Vangmai Puja Shrimat Shankarapadayur Arpita Tena Deveshah Priyatam Me Sadashiva.